Hi, my name is JJ, and I'm here at Cloud Connect Silicon Valley. Jim Davies, the CTO of Mitel, just got off the keynote stage and is open to answering a few more questions.
Sure.
So Jim, thank you very much for being here today. I wanted to ask you a little bit more about the 3 questions an internal team needs to ask themselves about an application development process.
Sure.
And also, just before you start too, who should be involved in those decisions? Is it just IT, or is it lines of business as well?
Okay, yeah, so that's a really good point, the add-on to your question, because increasingly what's happened with the movement to cloud is business units have got more engaged. And I think, if you want to choose who's the champion of this, I think it was Salesforce.com. And if you look at Salesforce.com in terms of a business model, I think what's made them most successful was they allowed business unit owners to make a decision, and unfortunately, despite IT, right, without asking IT, which I don't recommend across the board as a good solution, but what it's done is it kind of balanced, the cloud has balanced the tables between IT, which used to be the complete gatekeeper to the company, and the business owners, which are really the guys that are the recipients of values. And to some degree, they got disengaged, right? And I think one of the beautiful things about cloud is actually brought them back together again. So when you are going through your decision making about on a given application type, whether you want to move it to cloud or not, I think it's a wonderful opportunity to re-engage your business unit primes, whatever levels that are appropriate within the business, because it's if you don't, they're probably doing it in parallel anyways.
Exactly.
So bring them in the tent. So that being said, I think the 3 key things around cloud. We're huge advocates of cloud. We're very excited about it, but I think you can boil it down to 3 vectors that are most important, and 3 questions you want to think about. And that's number 1, you got to get the right app. I mean, there is no covering over. If the app doesn't meet needs, you're in a very tough spot. Then there's one around deployment flexibility. A lot of folks, when they move to the cloud, they move from, well, it used to be you could only have the application deployed on a server. Now you can only have the application deployed in the cloud. Well, that is a nice option, but tying that together with applications is unfortunate. So having the ability to independently decide where you want, choose your app, choose where you want to deploy it, and then choose how you want to pay for it.
Okay.
And keeping those things independent is the absolute key.
And then you spoke about 2 different kinds of applications, utility or differentiated.
Right.
Can you give an example of what would be considered a utility or differentiated?
Sure. Yeah, so it used to be application selection process within enterprises was always the big matrix, right? And one of the huge, cost was in there and flexibility was in there, but it was really a big feature mashup where you put all the various ones, and you tended to select the ones that had the best feature at a price you could afford.
Okay.
And I think that's still appropriate when you get to differentiated apps, but there's essentially consumerization of IT has kind of injected a different kind of class of applications. And that's what I would call a utility app. And a good example of that in this day and age is email. Every business needs email to run. It's absolutely important, but you're not going to get differentiation. Mitel is not going to be a better company than Avaya or Cisco because we made a better email choice.
Sure.
Right? It's got to be available and good enough. Right? As opposed to a differentiated app, in our world, in the applications we sell, things that tend to be customer-focused or interacting tend to be considered differentiated. So, I've mentioned Salesforce.com is often considered differentiated. Call center software, customer interaction software, all tends to be, most businesses decide are differentiated apps. It actually makes me more competitive than my peer companies in whatever segment I'm competing in.
Okay. And then one last comment. I loved your term, choose your own device versus bring your own device.
Right.
And is that something that you came up with, or?
Yeah, I think,
I'd like to use it in some marketing materials.
You're welcome to it. I think that one is my own, because I got a lot of, I am a bring your own device guy. I use my own devices and so on, but I think the title is somewhat missing the point of the revolution. And the revolution is not who pays for it.
Exactly.
The revolution is who gets to choose, right? And fundamentally, what sits in my pocket here is sitting in the pocket because it's important to me, not that it's important to my IT manager. And that separation, I think, is the key on choose your own, rather than IT will choose for me.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a
no
pleasure.
problem, JJ.